unique stories that define our state's character. Here's Kevin Mackey with this week's Montana Moment, brought to you by Montana Chevy Dealers.
It's been almost 50 years since the war in Vietnam officially ended in 1973. There were 22 Montana servicemen listed as missing in action in Vietnam, and the remains of 6 of those MIAs have been identified and repatriated back to Montana. One was a fighter pilot from Butte. And our Montana Moment on this Veterans Day weekend, Kevin Mackey with the bracelet.
This is a bracelet that Sue McPherson wore for years and years.
In early 1972, I received a bracelet, a POW MIA bracelet with Bob Holton's name on it.
Captain Robert Holton was shot down over Laos in 1969. He was Sue's childhood friend. Bob's brother, Bill Holton, wore a bracelet too. The entire Holton family did.
Everybody I saw with the bracelet, I asked if I could see whose name was on it, you know. And lots of times, especially in the Butte area, it was Bob's name. He was my only sibling. He was 3 years older than me to the day. He was always there for me, and I was always there for him.
Bill says before he was reported missing in action, Bob had been recommended for promotion.
He absolutely loved flying. One of the remarks was how cool he was under fire. And he only had about a week or so left of his tour of duty, and he had over 100 missions, what they call sorties, over the enemy territory. So he was due to come home within a week when he was shot down.
But it wasn't until 2017 that Bob Holton's remains would finally come home. All of Butte and much of Montana turned out for his homecoming.
It was not the homecoming we had all hoped and prayed for, but good old Butte, we welcomed him home with honors.
For years, both Bill, his wife Judy, and Sue have worked to bring attention to Montana's MIAs. The parents and siblings of Vietnam veterans are growing older, so time is of the essence.
These families are going through the same thing we went through for 48 years. And after all this time, it's getting more difficult.
I'm working with a Marine veteran to bring the traveling Vietnam Wall to Butte, hopefully this next summer. It's a huge undertaking.
She's lobbying hard to bring that wall to Bob Holton's hometown. Sue first met Bob when she was 12, and he was a few years older.
This right here is the old Bernie's Pharmacy, and this is where Bob Holton worked when he was a teenager in high school. And this is where we used to come and hang out. He worked in the soda fountain.
Bob went to Emerson School.
Bob was really a talented musician. He played piano and saxophone and clarinet.
He played in a band called the Aces of Rhythm, and we used to have jam sessions in his parents' yard.
The Aces of Rhythm used to play at the old Miners Union Hall uptown. Kids called it the Youth Center.
The Aces of Rhythm played here often. And one of my favorite songs they played was In the Mood.
Bob and Sue double dated, but they didn't date each other.
I was dating one of the other guys in the band and the Aces of Rhythm, and he was dating one of my girlfriends.
Bob wasn't a boyfriend. He was a friend.
Boyfriends come and go, but friends can last forever.
The last time Sue saw Bob was when he and his wife came to see Sue, her husband, and their new baby.
That would have been 1963. And I never saw him again. He became a fighter pilot and was sent to Vietnam.
Bill says the last time he saw his brother was on April 8th, 1968. April 8th was Bob, Bill, and Bill's wife Judy's birthday. They lived without knowing what happened to Bob for 48 years.
We got the phone call from the Air Force that said through the DNA, which I had given and my mother had given, and they confirmed that the remains they found were Bob's.
In all those years, both Bill and Sue continued to wear Bob Holton's bracelet.
I said this Sue wore his bracelet all the time too, and I told her, I said, why don't you put that right on Bob's coffin?
Bob's wife suggested the same.
And so I did. And that was perfect. That's where it belonged.
On a snowy day, Sue visited her childhood friend's grave. She thinks back on the good times.
Aces of Rhythm, Bernie's, the Youth Center, Holton's front yard, all kinds of wonderful memories. He's home. He's home.
It's a remarkable story of friendship, true friendship, loyalty, love, and a community who never forgets her own. Kevin Mackey, NBC, Montana.